here today to talk to you about how to repair a 5.1 surround sound system depending on your issue. I think a lot of the issues with these will be either burnt trace or blown fuse. I'm going to show you how to bypass burnt fuse and to repair a burnt trace. Today the one that I'm working on is Logitech X 530. Somebody had given me this for free, so I went ahead and took it. I don't usually fix these, so I just put it to the side, but then I decided to give it a shot. I plugged it in, I turned it on, I noticed that it did get power, but it didn't receive any sound from any of the speakers. So I decided to try the headphone jack. When I plugged headphones into the headphone jack, I was getting sound from the system. So that led me to believe that somewhere on the board there was either a burnt trace or something along those lines. So I figured I would take it apart and see what I can do to fix it. I did take this one apart, and if you have the Logitech X 530, I will tell you that that this motherboard is housed inside of this metal casing, and it does come out of this hole right here. Now, when this is around this, it is very tight fit. The screws are in a very precarious spot, and it is difficult to remove without bending or breaking the housing. It took me quite a bit of time to do it. Maybe some people do it faster, maybe some people give up. I just know that I didn't want to damage it, so I really went and took my time, and eventually I finally got it off. And was not easy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you what this spot looks like now, and I'm going to show you right there, that line on the board. I'm going to go ahead and point it out to you. That was the trace that burned. When I first looked at it, I didn't notice that it was burned, so I was having a hard time figuring it out. But then I came back to it a little while later, and with fresh eyes I was able to notice, man, there's a really big burn spot there. So I went ahead and I took my dental tool. You can use a dental tool, you can use a pair of pliers, tweezers, you can use any kind of pick that you make as long as you Dremel it down so it's nice and sharp. And I like to use just a regular pair of these wire cutters. I lifted the trace up and I pulled it back to where it wasn't burnt, and then I went ahead and cut it on both ends. So what we're going to do is we are going to repair this trace by bridging it and making the connection complete. Also, from this point to this point, there's a fuse on the other side. That fuse blew at the same time that it received the overvolt and burnt the trace. So in order to get this to work again, I am going to also bridge the gap on this side. I'm going to use two small wires. I've already tinned one side of each. For those of you that don't know, when you're soldering, you're going to want to use tin. You're going to tin the wire tips, and that's going to let it take the actual solder, and it's going to help it connect a lot easier to the solder points on the board. You're also going to want to tin the pieces of trace that are sticking up. So you don't have to be an amazing solder master, but you should have a steady hand and a small tip, and be patient, and I think you'll be able to do this. So I'm going to go ahead now and move over to the solder station, and I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up, and we'll turn it back on once we get everything ready. Okay, so we're back. I have my soldering iron ready to go. You can set it on whatever temperature you're comfortable with. Of course, I have mine set. I'm going to use about 280. So right now I'm just going to tin the tip real quick. And since I've already tinned one side of the wires, I'm going to go ahead and just tin up this side. And then I will do the other side. Can get hot in your hand, so just try to do it as quick as possible. Of course, I'm used to it, so it doesn't really bother me. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is just clean this real quick. Just going to put a little bit of solder on the tip, and then I'm going to start to bridge the connections. The first one I'll do is I'll do the fuse, these two spots. Of course, you're more than welcome to go on the internet and try to find the fuse. I'm sure if you do something like Logitech X 530 fuse, something will come up. I'm just comfortable with doing it this way. So I'm going to get a little solder. Let me just lay this down across here. Make sure that it's able to touch both points. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and connect the other side. Put a little bit of solder on there, make sure it's on good. Just going to revisit this connection, make sure I get that on. There we go. Okay. I always like to clean my tips, so let's go ahead and look. Make sure that's on. Okay. I'm just going to see if I can do anything to clean it up, because that's how I like to do it. Alright, so now that's on. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to do the trace.